Hello, everyone. This is our 15th episode of the podcast, and we're excited about our guest today. He's a trailblazer in sports medicine and has been effectively helping patients. Today, we have on our show Dr. Wes Bailey of Perimeter North Medical Associates. Welcome, doctor, and how are you?
Oh, doing well. Thanks for having me back.
Good to see you.
Yeah, so
Good
glad,
seeing
so
you
glad
too.
that you're here. The last time you were here, we had a great discussion, and we know that this time is even better. So today we want to talk about fitness and how this is the foundation of excellent health. So doctor, first tell our listeners and viewers again about your background and why you chose sports medicine.
Well, I'm certified in family medicine, also known as primary care, and non-operative sports medicine. I work with folks from ages of 4 or 5 on up through adulthood. I manage general medical problems such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. I also work with folks who may have ailments or dealing with various issues such as joint issues, performance issues, such as issues with making strides when training for marathons and things of that nature. The reason I decided to choose both fields is, number one, I just like helping folks, and both fields allow me to apply science while helping others.
Awesome. It's just amazing that we still have people that believe they can just eat healthy and they'll be fine. They don't see that greatest of importance of working out. So tell us why would you say fitness is even more important in our current environment?
Well, fitness has a number of benefits. You hear it all the time, but it's really true. I mean, it can help with prevention and management of many of the common problems that I treat. The classic example is your diabetes, your high blood pressure, your cholesterol. Also, too, it helps with management of mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and challenges in terms of stress management. Obviously, during the pandemic, that's been stressful for everyone in various ways. So many folks have had struggles and have had new or worsening issues, such as anxiety, depression, worsening of their blood pressure, weight gain, etc. In this climate, too, we've all become more collectively aware of the importance of maintaining our immune systems. And exercise does have a benefit in terms of maintaining and priming up your immune system, if you will. It kind of keeps your immune system in more of a ready mode, so that if you are exposed to a virus such as coronavirus, you'll be in a better position to fight it off, in a shorter amount of time.
Why it's so hard for people to start a workout or fitness routine?
Yeah, that's a complicated question there. One big thing I find is it's important to understand how exercise hits folks. So if you're talking to an individual and you start talking about exercise, the big challenge is to find out what exercise means to individuals. Oftentimes exercise may mean just getting up and running, doing some weightlifting, doing some walking, some yoga, or some combination of the two. Some may associate exercise with stress or trauma. Some may associate it with troubling thoughts or bad thoughts. So those things come into the way as well when you're trying to get folks to even start exercise. It's all in what comes to mind when you say exercise, and then also too, what's their overall situation? What's their home and family life like? What is their overall health situation? What are some things that they might need to have in place to help encourage them to start exercise? What are some things that might motivate them to exercise? Do they even see exercise as important? That's a key question too. There are still many folks who don't quite see the importance in exercise. To them, it sounds like a cliche. So they're kind of tired of hearing it, and they actually don't correlate it to prevention and management of all these major diseases.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to the way people were introduced to it, I think, when they were in elementary school. The typical PE program is based on team sports, and particularly ball sports. So if you don't have that hand-eye coordination, which I think only about like 12% of the population has that innately. You spend a lot of time standing around waiting for your turn. If you get your turn with the ball, you're not very good at it because you're not practicing as much. And so you learn to not really like it, for one thing. It's not pleasurable, it's not enjoyable, it's not fun. And the value of it escapes you because you don't feel better afterwards. You don't feel successful. You don't feel stronger. You don't feel faster. You're not more accurate. None of that stuff happens. So that's what people think of, I think, a lot of times when they think about exercise or fitness, which fitness, we could unpack that a little more. I mean, fitness is, it's not just having some muscle or some cardio. There's more to that. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, there's different facets of it, like you're pretty much alluding to. So some of it is kind of your mental health, your mindset, your energy, if you will. Many folks will kind of touch on that as well. So there's different facets to it. Other things that often get skipped are things such as sleep, stress management. So it is more than nutrition is absolutely important, no doubt about it, but it is a little bit more than that. Your stress management, your sleep, your overall situation. Are you in a healthy situation at home? Are your relationships healthy? There are a number of things that play into your overall fitness.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's talk about someone's economic situation and how this may affect their fitness programs.
What I find is many folks will assume that a certain amount of money or financial resources or access to certain facilities or specialists are required in order for them to really get started in terms of an exercise routine. So I often work with folks to help them see opportunities to start on an exercise or fitness promoting routine that does not involve a lot of equipment, does not involve a lot of money. That can be actually rather cost effective. Oftentimes when folks have this perception that a certain amount of resources or things are needed to start, and if they believe that they don't have these resources and know that they don't have these resources, that becomes a barrier to their care. So we try to help them, spot it.
Dancing could be exercise. People don't think about it that way. Yeah, could be that.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a lot of it is perspective. As you said earlier, usually the first thought that comes to mind is big muscular person or a super toned fit person or some elite athlete. But most folks aren't really in that category, and that's not what's really necessary or to be fit, if you will. And even those folks may not necessarily be fit, even though they may appear that way on the surface. Kind of takes you to another. Yeah. So it kind of boils down to how one defines fit as well. So
yeah. So let's talk about that for a second. I mean, fit. When I think about it, that's my wheelhouse, right? So when I think about it, it's that bigger picture. Like, do you have a good mind-body connection? What's your blood work look like? Are you sleeping well? Do you recover? What's your heart rate recovery? What's your recovery heart rate? That's the important one. Those things that allow you to move through the world with ease and comfort and joy. That's what makes you fit, and you achieve that. It makes you healthy. You achieve that by utilizing all of the tools available, whatever they are in your environment. It doesn't have to be anything special. It really doesn't. It just has to be something that feeds your soul, which sounds silly, but it's important. You have to get some kind of pleasure out of this thing that you're going to do, right? If you're going to,
you're not going to keep doing it otherwise. You have no motivation to.
Right. And I think people don't understand either. Like, go back to Andre's question, why is it so hard to start? People don't understand how their brain works. Like, your brain isn't going to get you off the couch if it thinks that it's dangerous to get off the couch. If you've been sitting on the couch since March, your brain knows that's the safe place. And it's a predictive organism, and it's an energy efficient organism. So to get you off that couch where you are now, inertia, right? You've got to overcome that. That takes a lot of energy. So that brain is going to ask you 100 times, are you sure We should do
Why?
that.
Why do I want to do this?
Yeah,
What's in it? What's in it for me?
Is it
Why?
worth? Yeah.
Why is this specialist bothering me about exercise?
Yeah,
Why?
it doesn't mean you're a bad
Yeah,
person. You shouldn't
yeah,
feel
yeah.
guilty about it. It's not a, there's nothing wrong
Mhm.
with you. It's just the way our brains work. And I don't
Yeah.
think people understand that either.
It's a mindset.
It becomes an
And
obstacle.
yeah.
It becomes another
Mhm.
obstacle. Yeah.
No, and you're so right. Uh, Wes, someone would just get up and say, you know what, I'm going to join a gym, and then in a short time frame, they get themselves hurt or something bad happens to them. Talk to our audience about what type of person should join a gym and what type of person should not join a gym.
Mhm.
Well, I think anyone can join a gym. The question is kind of really getting a baseline assessment before you do so. So that's touching base with your healthcare team. Your physician, your certified trainer, things of that nature. Kind of looking at your different aspects of your health. Even if you have a psychologist or a mental health specialist, kind of reaching out to all those different areas. Just to kind of get an idea of your health and of some potential challenges. For example, if you know that you have major low back issues, major knee issues, you may not want to just go straight to the gym without consulting with some of your local specialists first, just to see, okay, well, how can I safely start to exercise and kind of get my feet on the ground and go from there? So I think everyone potentially is a candidate to go to the gym. The key is kind of going in with an appropriate strategy and game plan. For example, even folks who have heart disease or kidney disease, they can exercise. The question is in what parameters, and so that's where your base health and wellness team comes into play before you go to the gym, and then obviously finding folks who are really qualified to help you, and who are listening to you and actually talking to you and getting a history.
Yeah.
So you really don't want to get in with a
Right.
specialist who's just quick to put you in some sort of cookie cutter program. That's not what you want. You want
Right.
someone who actually tries to get to know you first and feel you out, kind of
Mhm.
start you basic, see what you can tolerate, and who listens to you.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the key things.
Yeah, I always tell people that their trainer should meet them where they are, not where the
Mhm.
trainer thinks they should be, or do some other
Yeah.
things. And people don't realize too, it takes people, the average I think is 7 times trying to start a program. So if you fail 6 times, keep going,
It's normal.
It's
Yeah.
normal. Yeah, it's totally normal. And every time you do fail, it makes it easier to fail the next time. So you have to make sure that you keep that in the back of your mind that, okay, this wasn't the right program for me. Let me try
Mhm.
something else. Seriously, at least 7 before you
And
give up.
and it's important, especially for the healthcare professionals to let folks know that that's normal, to normalize that. A lot of times that can kind of heighten the stress associated with fitness and exercise, or can be kind of deflating for folks. So
Exactly.
even when you start to have that talk, you can go ahead and say, hey, you're probably going to have some setbacks here and there. Or you're probably going to go on with one plan. You may have to scrap it and change it to another. That's all normal.
Right.
So it's kind of helping them come in with that right mindset or frame set, you
Right.
know.
And it is a habit that you're trying to create. You're trying to create the
Mhm.
habit of movement, or whatever you're trying to create a habit to do. What it doesn't matter if it's trying to eat this kind of food or do this kind of work.
Yeah.
You're creating a habit. So it will take you a minimum of 1,000 repetitions. People don't know that either. 1,000,
Mhm.
just for it to no longer have to be consciously thought about every time you do it.
Yeah. Kind
Now,
of
if you want
hardwired.
to swing a tennis racket like Federer, that's 100,000 reps. But if
Mhm.
you just want to get out of that mindset where you don't have to think about it all the time, and you're
Yeah.
automatically going to your exercise class or eating the right food, or practicing good sleep, that's 1,000 reps. So people have to give themselves the time to do that. They think it's going to change in 21 days.
And
But
that's tough in our society. Everything's
yeah,
fast. Everything's now. So
exactly.
it's tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and persistence is so important. And another key thing that you touched on was is the idea of people going to a healthcare professional, talking to a doctor first before you say you're going to start a gym or start a specific plan, because as what you mentioned, there has to be some strategy behind it, or you have to be
Yeah.
the right candidate
Yeah.
before you
Yeah.
can hurt yourself.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you a
Go ahead.
question about that, Wes. Are
Mm.
you seeing, like with COVID now, if we go back to the stress idea, I know that, the way your brain is working under stress, it will depress your digestive system, your reproductive system. It affects your mood, because of the cocktails that your brain's producing. And COVID is this low level, chronic, never turns off stress, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all the time. We're
No,
under
no way
it,
around it. Yeah.
feel it or not. So are you seeing more of those sort of digestive issues, maybe um, sleep issues, insomnia, or even just mood, where because people don't understand either, when you're under stress, you're not terribly rational, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
irrational. Your rational brain doesn't work as well when you're under stress. Now, we're
Mm-hmm.
not in the place where, okay, the gas furnace over there exploded, so I'm not going to think about, should I walk, run out of the room. I'm just going to go, right? I don't have to think about it. So, but
Mm-hmm.
when you have this low level stress, your rational brain is going to be slightly impacted by that. So your mood could be shifting or changing. You're not making the right decisions or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, are you seeing people with more of those issues now since COVID?
Yes. Yes. More anxiety, more symptoms of
Right.
depression, problems with concentration and focus, problems with work performance, which kind of compounds everything, because that makes folks even more stressed and
Right.
anxious and agitated and depressed. As you stated, stress, there's no lab for it, but we know that it can throw almost everything off for you in terms of your body's natural function and physiology, including your gut function, your immune system function. It can actually throw your hormones off, so it can make it super hard to lose weight. It can actually
Yep.
contribute to you gaining weight, even though you're trying to eat right and things of that nature. So yeah, stress, it can actually start showing up too, as you were mentioning resting heart rates. You start seeing subtle things like that. Heart rate's a little bit higher than normal. Folks are a little more anxious or fidgety. Maybe the blood pressure is creeping up a little more than usual, and no clear explanation why other than stress. So we're seeing it play out in a number of ways. So
Mm-hmm.
more folks are starting to come in with more of those downstream symptoms, like the gut problems and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Slowly developing over time. There's a
yeah,
lot of, like,
that's what.
diabetes
Yeah,
type 2. It takes a long time to develop it, but one day that test come back and then boom.
yeah.
So yeah, it's yeah, that's what I was afraid of. But exercise, the good news is exercise can mitigate a lot of that.
This
It's
is
not
true.
reverse it.
Mm,
So,
And Wes, that's a good point, Anne Marie. But what I want to ask you is how can exercise impact positively your immune system? Let's dive into it a little bit deeper.
yeah.
yeah. So basically, the way your immune system functions, it's always in a kind of a low level mode anyway, in terms of surveillance, so that if you get exposed to viruses in the community, which you will, you're in a better chance to kind of fight these viruses off before they really take hold and cause any problems for you. So exercise helps keep your body in ready mode. It helps prime that ready mode, but it also helps augment your response if you are truly exposed to any germs like a virus. So it not only helps your surveillance mode, but it helps your ability to actually fight off and clear any germs that are really starting to cause problems for your body, such as germs that may hit your lungs or hit your gut, or things of that nature. So exercise really does help keep these things primed for you. So it kind of puts you, in a better position, so to speak, if you were to get exposed to something such as COVID.
So, Dr. Bailey, can you tell us a little bit more about how exercise actually mitigates that stress response in the body? Because your brain is pumping out this cocktail of hormones every time you're stressed, right? And it's a chronic stress, so you're chronically bombarded by them at a low level, but
Hmm.
exercise does mitigate that, right?
Yeah, basically exercise can help kind of keep these stress hormones down to a more normal level. But also, you hear this all the time, that it does correlate to release of endorphins. That's the real. So those are things that can help you relax, can help cut down the stress, can give you a sense of satisfaction from your exercise as well. And then that can help keep other problems down, such as heart rate and things of that nature. So basically, it helps kind of restore the natural balance of things hormone-wise for you, physiologically for you.
Right. Yeah.
And Wes, would you say one type of exercise, exercising is better than the other?
Not necessarily. I think the ultimate goal is to pretty much get a pretty much total body type of workout, or as close as you can to one. I think the sweet spot in terms of intensity would be more of your moderate intensity, but if you just haven't been exercising at all, it still counts if you start at light intensity. Just start where you are, and then gradually work your way up in terms of intensity, exercise duration, exercise frequency over time.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the, oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say mix up cardio with strength because they affect different areas of your brain, and they have a different response, stress response. So
I was just going to touch on that. So your simple things such as your walking counts. If you like the stationary bike or an outdoor bike, that counts. Elliptical counts. Little trot or a jog counts. Body weight exercises, squats, planks, push-ups, that counts. If you want to work in some weights, like the classic example would be some very light dumbbells, that counts as well. And really, overall, you want your mix, because all of it will really work your cardiovascular system, but some will work in different ways than others. So you just want to mix and try to get all your body systems involved as much as you can.
And, and then again, if that's not your cup of tea, you can still go kayaking or dance or rock climbing or hiking or biking or.
Many folks start with like Zumba, which is a great place to start, especially if one of their challenges is making exercise interesting. Right. Sometimes it's just that simple,
Right. Yeah. Fun. It's a fun environment.
Yeah. So Wes, let's circle back around to, we touched on COVID a little bit, but let's dive a little bit more into it. So if we're in a high risk category of COVID-19 complications, tell our listeners, what are those categories and how will exercise help?
Basically, your higher risk categories are going to be your older folks or folks who already have established heart disease, kidney disease, other problems such as your diabetes and cancer, and left out an obvious one there. So it still is important for those folks to get an exercise, because it can help with mood symptoms, it can help with their heart conditioning, it can help with their lung conditioning, and it can make their lung function and their heart function more efficient. And as I touched on earlier too, it can still help prime the immune system. So it is still worth their while to exercise. And then, coming back to mood as well, there is a pretty good association between chronic medical problems and mood issues such as depression. So as Emory touched on earlier, one of the major treatments would be some form of physical activity. So those benefits are multifold.
Yeah, we talked to a psychiatrist a couple of weeks ago about depression, which I was like, how can we tell if we're not, depressed at this point? Because I'm depressed all the time, I think. But, there was that whole idea that, we are struggling. Everybody's struggling with this situation. It was so unnatural for us to be isolated from our family even. We have family in different parts of the country. We can't be with them, and our friends and our coworkers. So that's stressful because as animals, human animals, we're wired to be in groups, right? There's safety in numbers. So this is a very unnatural situation. And again, exercise would help a lot, even if you're exercising by yourself. Maybe you're not somebody who wants to be in a group. Maybe you just want to do stuff by yourself. That's great.
Yeah, that's still a big step, still beneficial, still important. So.
I was walking my dog today in the woods and 4 deer ran across our path. I was like, wow, that's awesome. So I get this extra.
Some normalcy, Yeah,
and it was just a really nice little moment where I saw something normal and beautiful and outside. And so anytime you can grab any of that at this point, do it.
And
no, you're
the doctor did it, right?
What's the impact of cycling? Any one of you guys? Because there's this big crave now or thing out there with Peloton. Everyone wants to get that bike.
Yeah.
How impactful is cycling or riding? Is that an excellent form of exercising versus going out there and you know.
You're raising your heart rate. It's a good thing. But let me say one thing before you say something, Wes. There's going to be an adaptation period, okay? Because when you sit on a bike like that and you're cycling, your legs, all the messages your brain is getting are that you're moving forward, but your eyes are saying, no, I'm not. I'm sitting right here. So there's going to be a little clash of information there. So there might be a little adaptation. But after you adapt, it's like a treadmill, same thing. You're not going anywhere, but you're acting like you're going somewhere. But after you adapt to it, I think the cardiovascular benefits are pretty awesome. Would you say that, Wes, or no?
No, I totally agree.
Yeah. Yeah, because a strong heart is important. It's a really important thing. And that goes back to that recovery. It's not how long can I press my heart? How long can I make my heart beat at, 80% max? It's how quickly does my heart recover to resting rate when I'm done with that, so, and that's part of it. Just make it stronger by doing this cardio. But,
right.
Yeah,
Because,
I'd rather be outside riding my bike for real and moving, and seeing stuff. That's what I'd prefer. But.
And to expand on that, it kind of rolls into that concept of efficiency for your heart and your lungs, which helps you if you are hit with a stress such as exercise or such as infection.
Right.
So it's still important.
Right. Exactly.
And the thing is, most people are at home now, so things like the Peloton bike or like a treadmill, doing something inside your house is always, as what you mentioned, was more efficient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good thing to do for sure.
Definitely.
It's better than not doing it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and then even things such as maybe using the stairs in your house, just to take some stairs at an easy pace. So many things to do around the house. So we just try to help folks come up with a routine with which they feel comfortable.
Yeah, when you get good at walking up and down the stairs, then walk every other step up the stairs.
Yeah, still counts.
Just keep making it harder, and you'll get stronger. That's just how your body works. Challenge it, and it changes.
So, Wes, if someone is listening and they weren't into exercising and they just want to start some baby steps, what are some simple things exercises that they can actually do now, in home, just to ease themselves into exercising?
I literally start as simple as walking, even if it's in short spurts around the house or in the backyard, or if they think they can safely do it around the block and at least get some fresh air and some sunlight. I start as simple as that. Maybe folks want to jog in place. They can do things like jump rope, jumping jacks, taking stairs, as I mentioned. Body weight exercises that gets skipped over a lot.
What about squatting?
Yeah, that works. Yeah,
I got millions
body
of
weight squats.
Yeah.
That's body weight squats, planks, push-ups, you name it. There's
planking.
That works.
Yeah, well,
that works too.
That works
too. And with all the phone apps available now, folks can kind of find routines that they can adapt. Smart TVs, a lot of stuff's available on there too, especially through like YouTube and all these other kind of platforms. So the resources are there for folks. So I think the challenge is just helping them kind of figure out, like you said, where to start.
Do they still have that dance thing where the kids were doing it on television with the steps, the pad that you stepped on? That looked like fun.
Like they step on it, it lights up and
yeah.
Yeah. I forget the name of it, but
I don't remember. But
it still exists. It's been around for a while.
I thought that was a great thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if people were actually doing that, I mean, that would be fun. That's something you could do at home. You could do it with another person. I think 2 people could do it. So if you have that would be a great thing to plug in and do. Yeah.
Games with your kids can count, especially if you're getting the heart rate up a little bit, or if you're breathing just a little bit hard. That counts too as exercise, even though you wouldn't think of it.
Definitely. So Wes, it has been fantastic. We learned a lot, in different exercising programs and what we should or should not do. And again, we thank you for showing up today. Until next time.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Well, thank you all for having me.
Thanks.
Be safe out there.